Hi everyone, this is Penguin Trades, and this is a review for the ES and NQ futures for September 9th. We're going to start off on the ES, and then we'll hop over to the NQ after. So anyway, starting off, this is our overnight high, this is our overnight low, these are our key levels for the day. I started trading at 8 Central Time, which is this area right here. Now, notice that here we have this trend up here, but clearly on a smaller picture, you can see that there are smaller legs here. You have this uptrend, break, and then two legs up to a new high before price attempts to reverse. Now, that's completely valid. You can see that there's these smaller legs within here. The uptrend has played out with a break and a couple legs to a new high, and then this is the reversal attempt. Now, this reversal, it doesn't last very long. As soon as it starts pushing above the EMA, that's when you have to start looking for a wider channel. Now, if it had continued lower and formed a failed second entry, we can absolutely look for a short to get in on the reversal because, again, an uptrend has just played out and we're pushing off the overnight high, which is a common reversal area. But in this case here, price starts pushing above, and that's when we have to start combining these legs right here and form a bigger structure. Now, we can tell that even though we have these multiple legs here, on a bigger picture, there is still one leg up here. So this is clearly one leg. Now, since this reversal failed, what it turns into is a bigger picture break for this uptrend. So now it's uptrend, break, and we're pushing up to a new high. So do you see how these legs just combined to form one stronger leg, one larger leg? And this reversal attempt, since it failed, it's just a bigger picture break for the wider channel. So I hope that's clear right there. We start pushing up. Notice that the bodies make a new high, not with the wicks, but oftentimes it'll just count because of the bodies, because the bodies are more significant than wicks because that's where they close and open, not just, go, not just reach briefly and then retreat from. So here, price reacts to the overnight high. It attempts to reverse down. Obviously, that doesn't last very long. As soon as it reaches the EMA, it immediately starts pushing back higher. So clearly, the EMA is a lot stronger than the bears who are wanting to reverse here. So we start pushing up, and now we clearly have a new high at this point. Like I said, it basically, made a new high technically there, but it's really just a triple top. It's very, borderline. You can't really tell. It's just at the same level. Here, with this next leg up, notice that after the break, we have two legs to a new high. Now we have a much clearer new high. We're breaking out of the overnight high. Now, when you break out of an overnight level or a range level, you can expect price to attempt to fade back in. When you come off one side of a range, you can expect price to reach the other side. That's the range rules. That's just how price works. You can expect two attempts. Now, here, notice that we get, after ranging for a while, we start to get choppy. We have this high here, and we get first attempt to fade and then second attempt to fade. Now, usually I'd like to see, the first leg not reach the overnight high because usually that would mean that the second leg is going to fade back in and then struggle to get back out. But in this case here, we had this wider trend line that was supporting us here. So even though this first leg is already retesting it, by the time we get this second leg, yes, it's fading back in. However, it's still holding off of this channel right here and then pushing back above with this very nice bullish bar. So I like this trade right here a lot. Two attempts to fade. This is a fade failure off the trend line going into this wider channel. So I really like that right here. Now we continue on up here. We start to get a little bit choppy around this area. Notice how this was clearly a limit order trade just due to the fact that there was some clear resistance right here. You don't want to push your target too far past that. And so anyway, in this case here, it just keeps on going higher. It's a little bit choppy. We start to go sideways again. Once we reach the EMA, it starts pushing on up again. So we're going into this channel right here. Now here, we get a sudden reversal down, which breaks this channel. And so we have to consider a couple things. This uptrend has a break, and so the bulls will be wanting to make a new high. So because that's how trends play out. When a trend gets a break, you can expect price to make a new extreme. So the bulls will want to make a new high. However, the bears, they want to fade. They want to fade the overnight high. This is just like a range. When price breaks out, you can expect price to attempt to fade back in. And so it's basically a battle between the bulls and bears in this area here. The bulls want a new high, the bears want to fade back down, so you have to stay with what is most prevalent in the moment. Now here, just as we break out, there's nothing to take, there's no failure entry on either side of the chart, and so we just continue on lower with no entries. Now when we fade back in here, at that point we have successfully faded, and so what I'd like to see is two attempts at a new high so that way we can get in on a failure. Because if we're pushing back below here, that's already indicating that the bears are winning out. And so if we make two attempts at a new high for the uptrend, so uptrend, break, and then first attempt higher, second attempt higher, ideally holding under the overnight high, then that would be a failure entry for this uptrend. So, in case you don't understand how trends play out, you can expect them to make a new extreme, and the way that second entries form are from price attempting to do different things, whether it's attempting to make a new high, a new extreme, whether it's attempting to reach a magnet or reach the EMA. The point is, second entries don't form out of nowhere. They form from people attempting to do things twice and then giving up, and that's just how these charts form. They form from human psychology, and so I'm not going to get too into that right now. But the point is, we fade in here. We get this. We want to see 2 attempts higher, so that way we can get the failure entry for that uptrend. Now here, notice that we continue in this downtrend. You can kind of keep extending it as we get these small pierces through it. And so we're in this downtrend. We've faded the overnight high. We just need our 2 attempts up. And then here, we get these 2 legs up here, but it was getting pretty sideways in this area. And so, and also on top of that, it was getting pretty well above the EMA here. It wasn't like it was clearly holding below. And so considering that it was getting choppy and sideways and really just getting above the EMA, I did not like going short here because it didn't even offer a good signal bar once it got below. It is closing on the lower third and everything, but just the way that it was pushing above right after this chop, it did not look like the cleanest short setup right here. Especially when you consider that these 2 legs up here are not very significant for this uptrend. So uptrend, break, this whole thing is the break right here. Everything in this trend, this downtrend, is the break. Because when you look at price action on a bigger picture, it doesn't matter each tick and wick that goes by. You have to look at bigger structures. So once we push out of this downtrend, that's your first attempt at a new high for this uptrend. So again, uptrend, break, first attempt higher, and then this second attempt higher just really isn't significant enough, especially given, like I said, it's just pushing above the EMA, but really has a lot to do with it being choppy right before. So that's why I didn't like entering there. If we had gotten a more clean leg up with a better reaction, then I would have liked it. On the NQ, we had a better setup in this area. It was good enough to take on the NQ, but on this one, it just didn't quite look good enough. The way that I view it is we push up above here, we're basically fading back into this range, which I ought to just extend this to make it easier. I have a bad habit of not drawing all my structures out. Sometimes I'll explain stuff and people will ask me to put the structures on, but I just have a habit of deleting stuff early and kind of just keeping the chart really clean. So sorry about that if it distracts anyone. So anyway, we push up above here, we make this higher low, and then obviously we're entering clearly into that support, which just retested it there. So anyway, I'll leave that there. See what I mean? I just have a habit of reducing things on the chart as much as I can. So anyway, we push on lower here. Now this downtrend has played out with a break and a new low, so we can expect price to attempt to reverse, and that's exactly what price does here. We have 2 attempts to reverse, getting above the EMA. I don't like going short here, once again, because the downtrend has just played out with a break and a new low, and since it's played out, reversals are common. It is getting above the EMA, and you don't want to enter directly into the low again right after the trend just played out. And so that's why I didn't like going short here. It does end up working. As you can see, it makes a bigger picture second leg down. Let me draw this out here with a measured move. And sometimes you'll see stuff like this. Here, the downtrend's played out, 2 clear legs, 2 new low. It can look, when you see something like that, you might think in your head, oh, I want to enter that next time, but it's not always going to work out like this. The downtrend did just play out with a break to a new low. This uptrend is still technically in play, so it's not the best to go short there right into those lows, again, right after a trend play out. So anyway, after this second leg down, price suddenly shoots back up, very sharp reversal higher. If we had pushed, after pushing above, if we got 2 legs down, retesting the overnight high, that could offer us a great big picture failed second entry for a long. But as you can see, that we just don't get that here. So anyway, we continue on higher with no entry on the way up, just get a very sharp leg. Now here, we have made the new high. So now this uptrend has a break and a new high. It's considered played out. Right as it made that new high, it attempted to reverse, as you can see right there, but it didn't last very long. As soon as it had that push down, it just started, pushing back up. Now this uptrend has a break and a new high. And so anyway, uptrend, break, couple legs up to a new high, started going sideways before reversing up back down. So very typical thing to see. I'm just going to draw this out here, because there's always a chance of a wider channel. So we'll see how it works out. We'll see how it fits. Sometimes you might need to adjust the trend line a little bit. It might be, maybe it's from that swing. So we'll just see how price holds. And this up measured move is still in play. And even the trend line could be from here. Sometimes from the price action from the end of the previous session will come into play. This kind of seems like a, it's like a spike, and so I have a feeling that it's more from up here on this session because it spiked down, spiked back up. This is more of a healthy angle for a trend, so this is a 45-degree angle. It's just most trends are at a 45-degree angle. That's the healthiest angle for a trend. That's the trends last longest at that angle, and so more than likely that is just part of some overnight spike. I'm not really gonna draw it from there. So anyway, I kind of lost where I was. So up here, we're starting to reverse back down. Great place for a reversal pattern. Here, you can see technically you have a failed second entry because from the top, you have first entry long, second entry long, failure. However, you already have 2 legs down that are more than measured clearly. So you don't want to just enter short directly after that because at this measured move, price immediately started reversing pretty sharply here. And as soon as it met the EMA, it started pushing back down, but you don't want to enter short directly into that previous measured move level, which clearly had a strong bullish reaction to it. So I don't like that there. Now, here, notice that we have this uptrend, so one leg up on a bigger picture. You can, as I showed earlier, there are smaller legs in there. You just have to spot them and learn how to combine them into larger legs. Now we have this push up here, first leg, break, second leg. Clearly we have this measured move in play. Now when we get this break right here, you still have to view it as its own uptrend because this is a very significant trend. So uptrend, break, we can expect price to attempt a new high. Now in this case here, we have our first attempt at a new high, and I don't like going short here. It's a lower high, but this uptrend only has one clear attempt at a new high, so I don't want to just immediately expect it to have a full-on reversal from here. I want to see 2 attempts at a new high, and if we had gotten 2 attempts at a new high on the other side of the count, we would have had our failed second entry. So anyway, nothing here. We just continue on down here, and we just blast through that measured move, as you can see. So maybe we'll get something retesting this overnight high and the channel at the same time. We could get a couple of large legs down, maybe something like this perhaps. Who knows? We just got to be patient, wait for something else to happen. But that's going to do it for the ES. I'm going to hop over to the NQ and go over that. So here we are in the NQ. Again, this is our overnight high. This is our overnight low. I started trading at 8 Central Time, which is this area right here, just as we started pushing up there. Now, this uptrend has a break and a new high, and then after it plays out, price immediately starts reversing. So one thing I want to mention is with the ES and the NQ, they will kind of follow each other, but they're not going to follow each other exactly. Like if one is like really going up, the other one's also going to be going up, but they're not going to look the same overall throughout the whole day. For instance, like compare the beginning. So this is the ES at the beginning. Push up, small break, a little push up to a new high before this reversal. But here we have a much more clear break to new high because here it's more like making a double top. Here it's the break was much earlier, so they generally look similar, but there are some very important differences, and so you don't want to just trade one based off the other necessarily. So anyway, back to the NQ. The uptrend is played out with a break to a new high. Price immediately starts reversing. Great place to get a reversal pattern. A failed second entry. Sorry, hold on, I'm getting a phone call right now. Sorry, I'm gonna pause the video just for a sec. Alright, sorry about that, y'all. So I kind of lost where I was. Oh yeah, right after here, I believe. So the uptrend just played out. Great place for a reversal pattern, a failed second entry to hold below the EMA, but we just don't get that here. Price quickly pushes on up here, forming our, and like I said, this is the reversal attempt. And once we start pushing above here, and price fails to reverse, it just becomes a bigger picture break. Because on a bigger picture, this right here, this break to new high is still part of that same move up, this whole move up right here, and this is just the break. This reversal attempt becomes just the break before pushing up to a new high. So uptrend, break, new high, no clear entries on the way up. We just get this first entry here, and then obviously that's nothing. Once it gets above the EMA, that was completely choppy right there. So we push on up to a new high. The uptrend is considered played out, and then we start to get very choppy here. We start going into this range. Now, we need to see 2 attempts to fade in order to go long, because you don't want to just buy the breakout because you're getting a push out. Starting off here, we have this first attempt to fade. We break, and then this is our second attempt. Starting from here, push lower all the way down. This is our second attempt. So it can be kind of confusing, seeing these red bars and the green bars and the red bars back up. But overall, you can still see how this is a 2-legged move. First push down, break. Even though it's really sideways, it overall was pushing down again to the overnight high. So this is our 2-legged move down. As you can see, there's no clear entries, nothing formed down here to take. It just immediately shot all the way up. So you don't want to be entering directly into that. It's just clear resistance right there. So nothing to take there. We push on up, make this new high, price attempts to reverse on down. We have this trend line at this point off these lows, and these highs are fitting very well. So when you come off one side of a channel, you can expect price to attempt to reach the other side, which goes well with the fact that you can expect price to attempt to fade the overnight high. And so if we get 2 clear attempts down, we can still look for a long, but we just need the failure entry. We can't just take a first entry. We need 2 attempts to fade. That way we can get long on a failure. Here, as you can see, we have 2 legs. First leg down, second leg down, but it's very thin within this channel right here. It's not really 2 clear legs. It's all just going within this channel. Getting significantly below the EMA before pushing on up here. So it's just not ideal. Plus, there's barely any room. It's clearly forming support right there. Just not a clean entry. So we push on up. We overshoot. Overshoots tend to lead to breaks. In this case here, it just instantly broke. So we break the channel and fade the overnight high. And so what I'd like to see here is 2 legs up, making a failed second entry, and also basically playing out this trend right here. Uptrend, break, a couple attempts at a new high. Now, compare this to the ES. On the ES, the trend, it was a little bit bigger. On the NQ, it's overall, the day today on the NQ felt a little smaller. It just, had bigger strides, it felt like, on the ES. But here, we have this channel, we have this break, and then notice these 2 attempts at a new high. Now, this second leg is still pretty small compared to that first leg, especially for a channel like that. But what I like about this over the trade on the ES is that we're not completely sideways going back into a range. So on the ES here, remember this range that I had, price pushed back in, held back above, and then you're entering short directly into that low right there. It was very clearly choppy. And so that's why I didn't like that there. However, here, even though it could have been better with that second leg, it's still significant enough. You still have 2 clear legs, certainly better than the one on the ES. But the main thing is you're not fading back into a range right here. It barely started getting a tiny bit sideways there, not enough to even draw a range, but we have 2 clear attempts with a very clear bearish reaction, closing on its low, unlike on the ES where it was closing a couple more points higher. So I like this for a short. Push down to a new low. This downtrend has a break, expecting a new low. Great looking trade right here. Push down to a new low. Again, kind of like on the ES, after the downtrend played out, it offered another couple legs back, but considering the downtrend just played out with a break to new low, I would not want to enter short right there, especially after it's getting above the EMA like that. It's just not an ideal entry. So nothing there. We continue on lower here. You can still see that price after the break has 2 legs to a new low before reversing on higher. So as we push higher, this is a great place for a reversal pattern. Again, the downtrend played out. As we push higher, this is the start of a bullish imbalance because when you come off one side, price is expected to reach the other side. So if it doesn't reach the other side, that means there's more bulls in the market than bears. And so clearly this is a bullish imbalance. So if we push up here, it'd be great to see a failed second entry, but in this case it doesn't happen. We just go into this channel right here. We break back out of the overnight high. Here we just get this 1 attempt to fade, and then obviously you don't want to take a single attempt to fade. You want to get a long on a 2-legged move, so that way you have 2 attempts to fade. You can get in on the failure, not just 1 attempt. Now we start the second attempt here, but it doesn't even reach the overnight high. It just starts to push up out of nowhere. So unfortunately, nothing there either. We got this slight pierce of this trend line, so we can look to extend it. Notice that we have this uptrend, break, push up to a new high, and then after this push up to a new high stalls, starts to go a bit choppy sideways here, we have this small attempt to reverse and then a second leg up. So uptrend, break, first attempt higher, second attempt higher, and then clearly that's a very successful new high at that point. But you can still see that on a bigger picture, this is clearly one leg. We have this measured move up here. And I want to talk about measured moves because I understand how they can confuse people, because this measured move, you have this spike up, break to new high, two-legged move basically, but also this more sideways channel. And so, I understand how it can look confusing, but overall you can still see that we had a start from here, a push on up, a break, and then a second leg up. So even though it started getting a little bit, more to the side with this angled trend rather than this spike up, this is still one leg up on a bigger picture. First leg up, break, second leg up, two-legged move right there, which is on a bigger picture, just one leg before this large break right here. So again, price action gets bigger picture as more time goes on throughout the day. So this uptrend with its break to a new high got its reversal. So this is a reversal, but since the reversal stopped right here, formed this bullish imbalance, that's when we have to look for bigger trend up. So these two legs become one on a bigger picture. This reversal becomes just a break, and then we start our second leg up. So I hope that's clear there. We continue on higher here. Now, after we push out, I'd like to see two clear legs retesting the overnight high. That way, basically it could be a big picture failed second entry. Starting from here, we have push up, two clear legs back. That would be a big picture failed second entry, which would be great for a long, especially considering this up measured move is in play right after forming that bullish imbalance. And so we just don't get it. We just get this small break, push up to a new high, and then, like I said, it starts getting choppy up here, and then price reverses on down. Great place for a reversal pattern. Now, even though this trend just played out, like I said, on a bigger picture, you can obviously tell that it's just one leg. And so I'd like to see a full reversal pattern here. I don't want to just take a lower high. We did form a bullish imbalance. It has been up all day. The up measured move is still in play. So I don't want to just take a lower high. I want to see a clear reversal pattern. And, by the time that we technically get one, kind of like on the ES, it's just not good enough. These legs were drawn before there was any PA, so that's why they look kind of wonky there. So you can see here, this down measured move has been met, and as soon as it was met, price started spiking back up. So even though it held on the EMA, it's just a first entry coming off of this measured move. You absolutely don't want to take a short right there, but it does end up pushing on lower. So it's starting to fade back in. We'll see what happens. Even though this measured move wasn't met, if price successfully fades, which at this point it is, we have to stick with it. Price is clearly unable to get past this level. It's made this big double top before pushing lower. So if we get a couple legs back, we have to look to continue the fade. We can't look to continue going long. We can't say, oh, we have the bullish imbalance. It was pushing up for a long time. Clearly, price is switching gears. It was unable to go higher at this measured move, so there's something bearish in the market here, so we're going to have to stick with the fade. As what I'd like to see is price to push a little lower, actually. That way there's more room for a clear two-legged retest of the overnight high. That way we can get a short off of it, because we can still form a very big picture failed second entry. We can have this sharp push down, and then a couple legs back, and we can make a big picture short trade. So this is what I'd like to see, a clear reversal pattern holding off the overnight high. Great context for it. Again, double top, broken out of the overnight high. Great. This would be an amazing fade to see. Just a fade, couple legs back, get a failure entry. So we'll see what happens. I am going to be done for the day. I'm making this video a lot later than usual, probably because usually I'd start making it soon after noon, usually around 12:20. Now it's 1:13, so it's a bit late. So I'm going to take off here. And yeah, I hope this video helps out. I hope you find it useful, and thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time.